Hello, good evening and welcome to the business segment of Joy News Prime with me, Beverly Broohm. We'll take a look at our first story now. In the Chamber of Petroleum Consumer, COPEC is predicting a 2% increase in the price of petrol at the retail pumps from 16th April 2023. On the other hand, diesel prices are expected to drop by 5.58%. The Executive Secretary of COPEC Ghana, Duncan Amoah, spoke earlier on Business Live.
The city has performed creditably and relatively well the past 2 weeks, which probably would see you paying a little less for diesel, and petrol, unfortunately, you would have to probably add a little more. Or if the oil marketing companies decide to do what you call cross pricing, then they might as well just leave the two products at the current prices without altering any of them. But whichever way you look at it, international prices are simply surging and beginning to go up again, and that should be drummed home to authorities so that whatever measures we need to put in place, we put them in place and don't continuously wait for prices to fall. They might not fall again.
But Duncan, it's very interesting how petrol prices may go up, but diesel is predicted to fall. What could be the reason?
For petroleum pricing, you are simply dealing with demand-supply function. And so at each point, if you recall earlier in the year, for those who use petrol, you were paying way less. In fact, for most part of 2022, petrol prices were quite lower. Diesel was higher because of heating demand. And then again, what you would call the commercial, the factories that would depend, the heavier engines that would need more diesel. In our part of the world, what I can put on record is that we also consume a considerable amount of petrol. And globally, if you check the benchmarks, we also did indicate that there's been a considerable decline in prices for diesel across the world, while that of petrol rather saw an increase. It's simply down to demand and supply function. And that would so at this point, we probably will be getting to a point where those who buy petrol, those who buy diesel, may gradually be converging to a single point where prices may not be that differentiated as we have seen in the past. The two prices will simply meet at some point.
Now, the demand for dollars has resurfaced as $1 is now selling at 12 cities in the retail markets. This was after 2 weeks sustained improvement in value of the cedi against the dollar and the other major foreign currencies. The following Business Desk report has more.
The cedi began the week losing value despite gaining over 10 percentage points to the American greenback last week. It sold at 10 cedis 95 pesos to $1 before the Easter holidays, but has since lost about 1 cedi 5 pesos in value to the American greenback. The same story could also be said about the pound and the euro, as they are now going for 14 cedis 60 pesos and 13 cedis respectively at the Forex Bureau. Some analysts had forecast that the cedi will record a mixed performance this week as the market awaits a decision of Ghana's external debt restructuring with its bilateral creditors.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has revealed that China has now pledged to offer the necessary financing assurance to help Ghana secure an IMF program. The move is coming after China had expressed some concerns which could have impacted negatively on Ghana's program. But speaking at a news conference in Washington, D.C. last night, the Finance Minister noted that China's commitment could fast-track the approval of Ghana's program by the IMF board.
I think it was a very successful meeting, acknowledgement that we have done considerably well with regard to the domestic debt exchange program, and they are now waiting on receiving all sorts of documentation to enable them give us a proposal. So I think we've started on the right foot. Very collaborative, and we expect in the same way in which we engage the Paris Club, that will have an engagement that would result in the country being on a stronger footing, and they also burden sharing like all others have done. China, as you know, we visited on March 22nd, we had excellent meetings with the finance minister, in which he was very clear that these were short-term problems that Ghana was seeing. He was very confident about our future in the medium and long term, and committed that they would work on our case to be able to give the appropriate assurances to the Paris Club. They have thus joined all of the Paris Club meetings that we have had, and we do expect them to offer these assurances in the coming weeks to the Paris Club, so that they will then submit to the fund. So I think we've actually enhanced the quality of our relationship, and we look forward to working even closer with China in the years ahead. I think the other question was a statement by David Malpass about the cost. The costs are actually quite, it's quite an expensive issue.
While economist Dr. Edusa Kode has cautioned the government against putting timelines to approval of a program with the IMF, according to him, the processes are quite dynamic. He spoke earlier on Business Live.
Ghana is at the crossroad. We are at a point where we need an IMF program. And then the preconditions to secure the IMF program is to get assurance from the creditors, both external creditors and domestic creditors. And so, while from the government, they were able to conclude about 98 billion cedi domestic debt exchange, and then they started going to the external creditors. We know we owe China about 1.7 billion, Paris Club about 1.9 billion, then other commercials 8 billion from multilaterals. And so it is a welcoming news to get on board these creditors to give us the assurance that they are willing to help Ghana get out of the problem. But one thing that I want to believe is that we should not, underestimate the complexity and the sophistication of the creditors, both domestic and external creditors. They are all very complex.
Away from IMF-related issues, and the Ghana Revenue Authority is urging taxpayers to use the month of April to take advantage of its online portals and digital channels to file their returns. According to the authority, the month of April is dedicated to tax payment. Commissioner General Reverend Amishade Owusu-Amoah made the appeal in a video message after filing his tax returns using the online channels.
This is the month of April, and this is the month that's dedicated for every taxpayer, or for that matter for every citizen, to file their taxes. I have just finished filing my tax using our taxpayers portal, and I'm therefore using the opportunity to encourage every taxpayer to go onto our taxpayers portal and make sure that he files his tax. You can also download our app either from the Apple Store or from the Google Play Store and be able to file your tax conveniently. And I want to encourage everyone between now and the end of April, make sure that you file your tax and become tax compliant. If in extreme cases you are not able to either go onto our website and use our portal or download the app and use the app, you can still visit our offices, and our staff will help you to be able to file. But by all means, whether it is Google Play Store, whether it's Apple Store, whether it's going through our portal, by all means, file your tax.
We do some more stories now, and Managing Director for FBN Bank Ghana, Victoria Asante, says banks are readjusting their lending rate to support the private sector to boost economic growth. This follows the consistent hike in policy rates by the Bank of Ghana in recent times. Speaking to Joy Business at the 10th Training Assembly and Conference of Ratri International District 9102, Mr. Santi said the increases are affecting operations, but his outfit is devising strategies to cushion businesses.
Just like everyone, we are no different from any Ghanaian business or any Ghanaian for that matter. There are a few issues, but we are all dealing with it, so we continue to deal with it. Well, actually, learning rates have gone down. Learning rates have gone down, if you look, actually quite significantly. Yeah, policy rate did go up, but I think it was a reference to what is happening in the macroeconomic, where a lot of liquidity meant that they needed some interventions to reduce how much this was going. So we are coping. We just have to get going with what we have. There's not much you can do about that. Oh yes, of course. We've had to look at so many things. I mean, for example, if lending rates go up or there's low liquidity, the risk goes up. I mean, everybody. So what it means is that anybody you are giving money to, you have to look at it perhaps a little bit more than you were looking at. There are certain sectors that are particularly impacted. You have to be sure they are well structured when you are giving out facilities. So banking is not special. I mean, banking is what the community is or what the economy is. So what we have to do is to adjust and make sure we can accommodate the issues that we are all dealing with. What are these sectors? Well, many. I mean, if you look around, there are sectors that are more affected. For example, if there's FX shortage, anybody who relies a lot of imports would suffer. You have to look around, you see so many of them that get into trouble for it. Today's conference is about Rotarians coming together to take an assessment of what we have done for the last 1 year, what we want to do in the next 1 year, what we need to be able to deliver on what we say we'll do. So basically that's what this is about. It's an assessment and motivate ourselves for the next year.
We turn our attentions to agriculture now, and commercial banks have been urged to consider financing the agricultural and manufacturing sectors of the economy, which present great investment opportunities, rather than government instruments that continue to pose risk. According to economist and lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Eric Osei-Sibe, banks must remain mindful of the inherent risk associated with government instruments and take cautious approach towards investing in them. Here's more.
Speaking at an event organized by the DBG and the Ghana Association of Banks, economist and lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Eric Osei-Sibe, cautioned banks in the country against the lingering sovereign risks associated with government financial instruments and rather focus on agricultural and manufacturing sectors of the economy as they present significant investment opportunities.
But more significantly is the opportunity that is available for productive sectors, right? We've all seen the uptick in the demand for domestic products, right? Especially poultry products, rice, maize, soya, and what have you. But these are the areas that, in the past, the banks have shied away from investing in, all because they think that the area is highly risky. But given what is happening now with the domestic debt restructuring and with high inflation and high fiscal deficit and all of that, the only way to recover and to transform our economy is for the banks to take advantage of the situation now, to begin to invest heavily within the agricultural value chain.
Responding to the appeal, President of the Ghana Bankers Association, John Iwa, noted that the call is a significant step towards achieving sustainable economic growth in the country.
It's a valid observation, and also, should I say, an advice to the banking industry. We're now looking for avenues for credit expansion. Of course, the risk environment is still a bit challenged, but as banks, we cannot be sitting on liquidity. We need to look for avenues to use those liquidity or the funds. The fact that window of extending credit to government is almost presently non-existent. I believe that banks will be very much open to positively looking at more bankable, productive projects that they can finance with the funds that are available or liquidity that is available at the moment.
CEO of DBG, Kwame Dukas, announced that the bank's first priority for this year is to accelerate lending activities with at least 600 million cedis in loans to its participating financial institutions for on-lending to SMEs.
The banks say the SMEs don't pay their loans, they don't bring the right documentation. The SMEs say that it's too bureaucratic, you're asking for every single paper in the world, including my marriage certificate, how am I going to do this? And our aim is using our convening power to bring the two together in a way in which they can understand each other, and using our capital, our online ability, purely as a catalyst. And if we can catalyze that, then the other banks will join us, and then together we move from having 600 million to lend to having 3, 4, 5 to lend.
The event was on the theme, Assessment of Ghana's Medium-Term Outlook amid an IMF program.
Moving on, the World Trade Center Association is set to hold its 53rd General Assembly in Ghana. According to the Executive Director of the World Trade Center, Accra, Edem Yevuche, the meeting will provide partnership opportunities to many businesses in the country and attract foreign investment to contribute to economic growth.
The 53rd General Assembly of the World Trade Center Association will be held under the theme Towards African Economic Integration and Enhanced Global Presence. The assembly will include delegates from 64 countries. Speaking at a media briefing, Executive Director of the World Trade Center Accra, Edem Yevuche, said the meeting will provide actionable insights and various tools for financing businesses in Ghana and Africa.
Companies in Ghana and entities in Ghana can benefit from beneficial partnerships. That is one. Secondly, this event is going to boost our foreign direct investment drive. A lot of the companies coming here are looking to establish businesses, and we all know that foreign direct investments into the economy will lead to economic growth, will lead to the creation of jobs, will help us to stabilize our local currency, and so on and so forth. So foreign direct investment. And then thirdly, this General Assembly is going to provide actionable insights into new opportunities across the continent and across the world. As I said, Africa is participating in this GA. We initially positioned the GA not as an Accra GA or a Ghana GA, but as an African GA. And you will see in the GA that there are strong delegations coming from the other African countries who are coming here and seeking to take advantage of the GA to engage with the business community coming from the United States of America, from Canada, from Asia, from Europe. All regions of the world will be represented.
He added that Ghana is poised to become a suitable destination for trade and investment around the African continent.
The increasing prominence of Africa on the global economic landscape. The continent of Africa is undergoing a truly monumental transformation at the moment, with the amalgamation of the African market into a single customs-free trading area, and this tickles the interest of the global business community. And also Ghana is uniquely positioned to become the headquarters of this single African market because of the peace and stability that we have enjoyed. We've had democratic exchanges of power between parties for several decades, and this is a strong argument for global entities wanting to come to Ghana. So first of all, it's Africa increasing in global prominence on the economic landscape. It's about the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, and then it's about Ghana being a suitable destination for trade and investment.
It's time for the stock market review with Head of Trading at Republic Securities, Patrick Edemagama.
The stock market recorded activities in 21 equities this week. Total volumes traded increased significantly by 24.5% week on week to 3.7 million shares, largely on the back of MTN Ghana, which dominated both values traded and volumes traded by 97%. Total values traded, however, saw a sharp decline by 36.7% week on week to 4.5 million Ghana cedis. The composite index fell slightly, recording a year-to-date of 9.78%, while the financial stock index recorded a negative year-to-date of 12.41%. The market recorded two laggards this week. MTN led the laggards, losing 6 pesos to close at 1 CD 20 pesos per share, whilst Enterprise Group lost 30 pesos to close at 2 CD 70 pesos per share. For next week, we expect activities in MTN, Ghana, and Total to dominate as market demand increases.
On that note, we end business on Joy News Prime with me, Beverly Broohm. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. I am Beverly Broohm. Enjoy the rest of the evening.